Sony is looking to kick 2022 off strong with titles like Gran Turismo 7 and Forspoken, among other strong third-party offerings like Elden Ring, King of Fighters 15 and more. In fact, February 2022 is already being positioned as a very busy release month, even with some titles like Saints Row opting to delay to a later spot in the year. However, for us PlayStation fans, one exclusive title likely stands above them all. A little over 4 years and after a few delays, Horizon Forbidden West is on track for a mid-February 2022 launch. The title serves as a direct sequel to Guerrilla's popular 2017 title, Horizon Zero Dawn, bringing back protagonist Aloy as she seeks to find the source of a mysterious and deadly plague. Gameplay has already revealed a number of new mechanics including Valor Surge combat finisher, Shield Wing Glider, a pullcaster grappling hook, and a diving mask for exploring under the waters. Naturally, the game has a variety of enemies to overcome, including both new and returning machines. We have already seen the mammoth-inspired Tremortusk as well as the raptor-like Clostrider, but now, a new trailer shows off a number of new previously unseen machines and environments. Highlighting the deadly and technologically advanced machines, the Horizon Forbidden West trailer introduces players to all sorts of new and returning enemies. The rollerback is able to seemingly absorb materials around it to form a hard shell similar to an armadillo. We can also get a glimpse at the Sunwing, a bird-like machine that seemingly needs to rest and charge itself in the sun in order to get back into the skies. The waters also appear treacherous, filled with numerous aquatic machines like the returning Snapmaw. However, the highlight for many will likely come towards the end with the reveal of the terrifying Slitherfang, a massive snake-like machine that is able to coil around objects to get up high. Worse yet, the creature is able to spit venom at its enemies, adding a deadly twist into combat. Out of all the machines revealed so far, the Cobra might be the most visually impressive so far. The smooth animation of the mechanical snake wrapping around a ruined tower is stunning, and it's significantly different from any machine in the Horizon series so far. Cobras are known for their speed, and the attack range of this giant snake is probably insane, so this may be one of the most lethal machines in Forbidden West. In other words, bring it on. To be fair, the footage that we have seen so far has been captured on the PS5, so the version of Horizon Forbidden West that we are seeing now is the best version. While gamers will never know what Forbidden West would have looked like as a PS5 exclusive, the game is absolutely stunning and looks better than just about anything out there, PlayStation 5 exclusives included. That's a great precedent to set, especially when other highly anticipated exclusives like God of War Ragnarok are cross-gen as well. There have only been a handful of PlayStation 5 exclusives so far. These include Demon's Souls, which launched with the console, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, Destruction All-Stars and Deathloop. All 5 games have incredible visuals and use the PS5's power in unique ways, but in comparing footage from Horizon Forbidden West to these PS5 exclusives, there's no comparison. Forbidden West is right up there, visually speaking, with the games that did launch as next-gen only titles, and I would even argue that it looks better. Horizon Forbidden West is ambitious with its design, giving players an open world with diverse environments and machines, many of which are massive and require a lot of processing power. The map has expanded vertically too, with Aloy now being able to climb higher and dive deeper with underwater exploration. If the PS4 held Horizon Forbidden West back from being everything it could be, it's definitely not showing. Even though it doesn't look like the PS4 held Forbidden West back from a graphical standpoint, there is a big difference between the two consoles, so Guerrilla had to make adjustments somewhere. The performance differences between PS4 and PS5 will be more clear when the game is released and people can experience it on different consoles, but game director Matthijs de Jonge has promised that the game will still be a great experience on PS4, and a lot of playtesting has been done on the console. Matthijs de Jonge did shed some light on a few of the differences players can expect, however. One of the biggest differences is the lighting. Aloy has a subtle spotlight on her that makes her stand out from the scenery at all times on the PS5, but on the PS4 this spotlight is only used in cutscenes. The wave system on the PS5 is also better, so PS5 users will have more realistic water than PS4 players. One of the biggest differences is the DualSense controller, PS4 players won't get the same experience with haptic feedback, adaptive triggers and 3D audio, which we expect to be used for things like tension on Aloy's bow. In general, De Jonge clarified that the PS5 does allow a lot more detail and graphical rendering, so the visuals probably won't be as impressive as what's been seen in the PS5 footage. Still, that doesn't mean that the PS4 version won't be a gorgeous game that honors and improves upon the beauty of the original. We have a lot to look forward to with Horizon Forbidden West regardless of what console we play on, and the new gameplay trailer really drove home just how amazing and truly next-gen it's going to look. Earlier this week, the studio shared an update on the PS4 version of Horizon Forbidden West, revealing new screenshots to showcase how it looks on previous-gen consoles. While many were worried about the PS4 version of Horizon Forbidden West, the screenshots appear to confirm that the game will continue to look good, even for those without a newer console, but move forward with next-gen as soon as possible, so the developers can develop games for the particular system without making any sacrifices. There's definitely a lot to look forward to in Forbidden West, but so far the reptilian machines are stealing the show. Out of all the machines, they feel more fresh and new, and they'll bring fans dreams of fighting actual robot dinosaurs to life in ways Horizon Zero Dawn never did. Naturally, plenty of gamers will be struggling to bottle their excitement until February 18th. Fortunately, Horizon Zero Dawn comics are available to tide gamers over until then. The comics reveal plenty of new information about Aloy, showcase new machines that will appear in Horizon Forbidden West, and answer a few questions one might have about Aloy's world. The Horizon Zero Dawn comics are written by Antool, illustrated by Maulina, and published by Titan Comics. The first edition, Issue 0, was released on July 22, 2020, for free as part of Free Comic Book Day. Since then, there have been 4 editions of the first arc, with the last issue published on November 4, 2020. The comic series was popular enough to warrant a second arc, with the 4th issue set to release on January 5, 2022. Aloy makes a return in the comics, and she is just as brave as ever. However, she is not the sole star of the show. The comics also spend time focusing on Talana, who is a member of the Karja tribe. Both Aloy and Talana are fierce warriors capable of overcoming any adversity they face. In the Horizon Zero Dawn game, Talana demonstrates her tenacity by becoming the first female leader of the Karja Hunters Lodge. Thanks to the beautiful illustrations and sharp writing, the Horizon Zero Dawn comics feel just as alive as the game. The comic book narrative kicks off after the events of the Horizon Zero Dawn video game. Aloy has defeated the cultists, and peace has been restored. However, as Talana notices, Aloy remains restless. Talana eventually realizes that she has the same wanderlust as Aloy, and she will not be content remaining idle. During Talana's adventures, she comes across new machines that will make an appearance in Horizon Forbidden West. This includes Clawstriders, which are machines that look a little like velociraptors. Clawstriders are smart and they can track down their targets, making them very dangerous. Furthermore, their metal feathers and aggressive attitude make them a sight to behold and a force to fear. The comics also shine a spotlight on shellsnappers, which are massive machines that look like turtles and have foliage growing on their backs. Their glowing, red eyes are enough to make anyone's blood run cold. In addition to the new machines, there are also new characters to meet in the Horizon Zero Dawn comics. This includes Talvo, a young boy that Talana finds as he is scavenging parts from fallen machines. There is also Amatis, a brave yet mysterious warrior from a distant tribe. Amatis has traveled to the Forbidden West, and what he saw in battle haunts him. Although they get off to a rocky start, Talana and Amatis soon learn that they are a formidable team together. The second arc of the Horizon Zero Dawn comics focuses on Aloy and Irene as they search for a killer and defend themselves against machines. It is a must-read for fans of the series, as Irene goes into detail about Meridian's history and the death of the Karja Vanguard captain, who happens to be his sister. Horizon Zero Dawn comics offers an experience that both complements and expands on the games it is inspired by. For more Aloy action and a preview of some of the machines of Horizon Forbidden West, look no further than the Horizon Zero Dawn comics.
Not seen since the time of of the old ones.
Speaking of PlayStation first-party and 2022 releases, Gran Turismo 7 gets a new video that details how developer Polyphony Digital is making use of the power and tech inside the PS5. Gran Turismo 7 officially comes out early next year, and joins Horizon Forbidden West as a part of Sony's first-party offerings for Q1 of 2022. GT7 was originally supposed to launch in 2021, but was delayed as a result of the production challenges faced due to the ongoing pandemic. Fans have had to wait for many years for a new entry in the Gran Turismo series, as GT Sport released back in 2017. GT Sport also had a big focus on online gameplay, however GT7 is confirmed to have a full campaign, as it brings back GT simulation mode from past games. Sony has just released a new trailer that details how GT7 will make use of PS5's power and tech. The video features Kazunori Yamauchi, CEO of developer Polyphony Digital, who talks about how PS5 has allowed the team to reach an intangible level of realism in Gran Turismo 7. He first mentions that the adaptive triggers of the DualSense controller are used to recreate the feel of the brakes. Though ray tracing is only available during replays and in escapes mode, he makes note of the difference it makes in GT7, and reiterates that the game will be able to use PS5 foot power to run at 4K with HDR while targeting 60 frames per second. All of the footage shown from GT7 looks excellent, and it is great to see that more games are taking advantage of the unique features of the DualSense controller. However, Gran Turismo 7 has faced its fair share of controversies. Back when it was first announced, many fans believed that GT7 will be a PS5 exclusive title, allowing it to make full use of the console's power. Gran Turismo 7 was later confirmed to be a cross-gen game, which naturally caused a lot of confusion, and for me personally, I wanted GT7 to be next-gen only, to showcase the power of the PS5, and use ray tracing in real time. It makes a huge difference. In addition, it was announced that the campaign of GT7 will require a constant internet connection. Regardless of these concerns, it seems like GT7 has a lot of hype surrounding its release, and games in this series always sell exceptionally well. 2022 is shaping up to be a remarkable year for Sony's exclusive lineup, from both first-party developers, as well as third-party partners. Horizon Forbidden West and GT7 both have set release dates, while God of War Ragnarok is also scheduled to launch next year. Forspoken as well as Ghostwire Tokyo are console exclusives as of now, and when combined with notable multi-platform releases, PS5 owners should have plenty to look forward to in 2022. The Order 1886 did not achieve much in the way of critical acclaim when it first released as a PS4 exclusive back in 2015. Sony might just be trying to revive the series after a new development has come about that could eventually lead to a sequel to the Order 1886 at some point in the future. It would not have been out of the question to assume that Sony may have considered scrapping the franchise altogether, as many gamers deemed the Order 1886 to be rather disappointing. The source of this disappointment was owing to how short the title was, as the main story could be completed in the span of 7 hours and completed 100% in only 10 hours. Gamers were also disappointed with how shallow the game was, as the game seemed more like a technical showcase for the PS4 than a fully fleshed-out game. Many felt that Ready at Dawn and Sony could have done so much more with the IP and the setting, which is likely why a sequel to the Order 1886 has been in talks for years at this point. There is now some evidence to indicate that Sony might actually be interested in a sequel, as the company recently filed a new trademark for the Order 1886 after initially failing to renew it. While this does not necessarily mean that Sony is guaranteed to release a sequel to the game, it does at least offer those who enjoyed the Order 1886 some hope that there is a possibility. However, Sony may need to find a new developer to take on the possible project, as Ready at Dawn was acquired by Facebook last year. Ready at Dawn had already been developing games for the Oculus Rift such as Lone Echo, Echo Arena, Echo Combat, and Lone Echo 2 before the social media giant acquired the company. With the company being so heavily focused on VR, it would seem strange for them to make a return and help Sony develop a sequel to the Order 1886. While fans of the game wait for news regarding a sequel, a YouTuber called Snazzy AI decided to upscale the Order trailer to show what the game might look like running on the PS5. When one considers how good the game looked on a base PS4 back in 2015, gamers can only imagine how good a remaster or sequel to the Order 1886 might look running on the hardware of the PS5. Unfortunately, the upscaled trailer is all that we have for now, although those interested in a sequel should keep a lookout in the case that Sony decides to make any announcements regarding the IP. The Order 1886 along with Days Gone are some of the most underrated PlayStation games of last generation. I hope we get sequels to both of these. Speaking of comebacks, Ubisoft officially announces that a Splinter Cell remake is in active development and will utilize the company's Snowdrop engine. Fans have been asking for a new main series Splinter Cell game for years. The Splinter Cell franchise has been dormant for quite some time, but it seems that the wait for a new game is nearing its end. Ubisoft has officially announced the development of a Splinter Cell remake from Ubisoft Toronto, rebuilding Sam Fisher's original adventure using the Snowdrop engine that's being used to power games like Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, and the company's in-development Star Wars game. According to Ubisoft, the Splinter Cell remake will make sure that the game retains the identity of Sam Fisher's original adventure, but with some changes. There will be big graphical updates, quality of life improvements, and things of that nature, but the game will still be a linear stealth game. Almost all new Ubisoft games nowadays are open world in some capacity, but the Splinter Cell remake will not be open world as previously rumored. Ubisoft Toronto is hiring developers to work on the Splinter Cell remake, so the project is still in the earliest stages of development. Right now the team consists of people who worked on previous Splinter Cell games as well as newcomers. There's no word on if any actors will be returning to reprise their roles in the game, so it's unclear at this time if Michael Ironside will be back to provide the voice of Sam Fisher or not. While some fans may have hoped for a completely original Splinter Cell game instead of a remake, there is some obvious value to going back to the original game. After all, it's been 8 years since the release of the last main series Splinter Cell game, and so this way the developers can lay the foundation for potential future Splinter Cell games to build on. In fact, Ubisoft has said that this remake will allow it to build a solid base for the future of Splinter Cell, indicating that brand new games may very well be in the cards. Splinter Cell's use of light and shadows was groundbreaking at the time of its release, taking these elements further than any other stealth game had done up to that point. It was a graphical marvel on the 6th generation gaming hardware it released on, and so one can only imagine what the developers will be able to do with the Snowdrop engine and consoles as powerful as the PS5 and Xbox Series X. It may be a long time before we get our first real look at the Splinter Cell remake, but it will definitely be interesting to see how it turns out. Rumors of a new Splinter Cell entry have been fluctuating within the games industry for several years now. As far back as 2016, a new Splinter Cell game was reportedly in development, with Michael Ironside rumored to reprise his role as Fisher after he was unfavorably replaced by Eric Johnson in Splinter Cell Blacklist. These rumors were exciting to fans for a while, but as the years passed by with no official news or announcements, hope was dwindling for a new entry. Fast forward to 2021, and more recent Splinter Cell rumors are no longer exciting fans because of the current state of Ubisoft, both as a developer and publisher. As mentioned by prominent leaker Tom Henderson, an open world of sorts Splinter Cell game is reportedly in development, which would be a first for the series. However, many fans were quick to judge this leak as disappointing, considering the series has thrived with excellent linear gameplay design. Mention of open world brought on inevitable comparisons to Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, eliciting a negative reaction from fans who want to play a modern but traditional Splinter Cell game. Of course, this is also without even including the state of Ubisoft as a publisher currently, which isn't exactly making a great impression on fans at the moment. First, it was comments from the publisher's 2021 annual fiscal report that Ubisoft would be focusing on even greater integration of live services in existing and future games, a statement that saw mixed reaction from fans. Then it was the largely derided inclusion of NFT skins in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, a previously published Ubisoft title that has its own fair share of controversy due to its largely negative reception. Splinter Cell fans who have been keeping up with news regarding Ubisoft are rightfully justified in being cautious over a new Splinter Cell announcement. In all fairness, the announcement of the Splinter Cell remake seems to contradict the public-facing Ubisoft fans have witnessed in the last year. While it was a bit strange that a remake of 2003's Splinter Cell was revealed in a simple blog post with little fanfare from the publisher itself, the post itself was quite candid. The game's creative director, Chris Audi, producer, Matt West, and technical producer, Peter Handrinas, all showed a distinct reverence for the original Splinter Cell while emphasizing how the remake would remain faithful to its origins. West even made it clear that the remake would remain linear like the original games, not make it open world. Remaking the first Splinter Cell game really is the ideal way to bring back the franchise after such a long period of dormancy. Ubisoft Toronto can balance the desires of fans to bring back Splinter Cell in a traditional form, without potentially compromising the series by straying too far away from its roots. By design, excellent linear mission design was what made games like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory and Pandora Tomorrow so successful and revered by fans. Coming back after 8 years with an entirely new entry in the Splinter Cell series would be risky, but a faithful remake of the original game gives a chance to celebrate and modernize Splinter Cell in a big way. Overall, there's a degree of cautious optimism to be had with the announcement of a Splinter Cell remake. The most important factor is that the Ubisoft Toronto developers working on the project have expressed an excitement over developing and iterating on the traditional Splinter Cell stealth experience. While Splinter Cell Blacklist was a return to form in some capacity, it still iterated on the contentious action-oriented changes that Splinter Cell Conviction made to the franchise. Compared to earlier Splinter Cell games, the degree of stealth gameplay complexity was pared down in favor of freedom in playstyle, taking a jack-of-all-trades approach that limited options in stealth. 8 years later, plenty of the hardcore Splinter Cell fans yearn for the more traditional stealth experience that the series was founded on. Ubisoft Toronto is seemingly aiming to recapture that magic with the Splinter Cell remake, which does inspire some optimism. The enthusiasm shared by the developers, many of whom already have experience with the franchise previously, will theoretically bode well for this Splinter Cell remake. That being said, there are enough problematic factors surrounding Ubisoft currently that may conversely not instill confidence. Time will tell how Splinter Cell's return will fare once the remake is revealed and released. Ubisoft is making some legacy titles remakes lately, including the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, which doesn't look that great, and met with fan criticism. It resulted in a delay, so I hope we get to see both of the classic remake titles in the near future. Speaking of legacy remakes, many fans have been eagerly awaiting the arrival of the System Shock remake, and while things have been quiet recently, it's finally coming in 2022. Ask a bunch of older gamers to name some of the most classic, perhaps even the most influential, PC games of the 90s, and it won't be long until someone mentions System Shock, possibly in the same breath as Doom or Half-Life. It's generally considered to be one of the best sci-fi games of the 1990s, with gameplay mechanics, story, and a memorable antagonist that made it way ahead of its time. Since the sequel in 1999, fans have been clamoring for a new entry, and while a remake is currently being worked on, word is finally spreading about a general release date. According to a report from PC Gamer, the remake of the original System Shock from 1994 will finally be coming out next year. Sadly, there is no indication of an exact date, but with developer, Night Dive Studios, partnering with publishers, Prime Matter, things are starting to move forward again. Alongside this announcement, there's also been a slew of new screenshots that have been released, just to whet people's appetites. Fans will also be able to get a free copy of System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition upon release when they pre-order the remake. The System Shock remake has had a demo released, with the final form of that snippet being made available at the start of this year. Given that, fans have been waiting patiently to hear when the full game was going to be coming out, with the Steam page only mentioning that it was coming soon. At the time of the demo being launched, there was talk of Night Dive Studios releasing the game in summer 2021. However, as is plainly obvious, that time has been and gone, with many fans who have been eager, perhaps a little disappointed about the delay. It's not surprising that players are keen for the remake to come out. System Shock is notable for Shodan, the artificial intelligence system that resides on Citadel Station, and is considered one of the most sinister video game AI enemies in recent memory. The sequel surpassed it when it was launched a few years later, becoming a firm favorite among older PC gamers, and an influential game overall, with the likes of BioShock essentially being a spiritual successor to the series. On top of that, there's going to be a TV adaptation of System Shock as well. Night Dive Studios CEO, Stephen Kick, said that a show was the perfect medium to retell the game's original story. With this and the remake coming out next year, it seems as though this is a sci-fi franchise that is going to be making a splash in the public sphere once again, after a long time of lying dormant. The System Shock remake launches sometime in 2022 for PS4, PC, and Xbox One. Okay, now let's talk about last month's NPD. The NPD hardware figures for November reveal that the Nintendo Switch is the best-selling system for the month and also for Thanksgiving week. This new data was exciting for Nintendo, as it revealed that the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Lite, and Nintendo Switch OLED combined sales were more than 1.13 million during the month. This was more than the Xbox Series X and PS5. In addition, it also was the best-selling system over the Thanksgiving shopping week, including Black Friday, with almost 550,000 units sold. Following these new statistics, Nintendo released a statement regarding the sales figures. Unsurprisingly, the company seemed pleased with the news that they had outperformed rival companies Sony and Microsoft. In addition to selling the most consoles in November, Nintendo has had the top-selling video game console for 35 out of the last 36 months. They attributed this success partly to having 3 different console options for gamers. It's worth noting that a contributing factor to the Nintendo Switch family of systems dominating the market during the holiday shopping season was the scarcity of other consoles. The PS5 continued to experience supply shortages. As a result, this lack of available consoles caused Sony to sell fewer units, or the PS5 would definitely have surpassed the Switch sales. Call of Duty Vanguard debuted as November's best-selling game, instantly becoming the second best-selling game of 2021 to date. This is the 14th consecutive year a Call of Duty game has ranked as the best-selling game of its release month. Battlefield 2042 launched as the second best-selling game of November, ranking as the 6th best-selling game year-to-date. Battlefield 2042 was the second best-selling game of November on both PlayStation and Xbox platforms. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ghost of Tsushima still going strong after a year of their releases, which I'm glad to see. Guardians of the Galaxy and Forza Horizon 5 also did good on the US. Up next, let's look at some new little updates on PlayStation games. Square Enix announced today that players who own Final Fantasy VII Remake through the PlayStation Plus subscription service will be allowed to upgrade to the PS5 version beginning Wednesday, December 22nd. The PS5 version features vastly improved graphics, and a photo mode allowing players to take in the improvements up close. Also featured is a new difficulty setting and, as is standard of PS5 upgrades, much better loading times than the PS4 version. The episode intermission DLC will also go on a 25% off sale, adding additional story content featuring fan-favorite character Yuffie. Indie game Little Devil Inside from NeoStream Interactive apparently will release in winter of 2022, a bit later than some fans were likely hoping. According to a PlayStation Instagram post, Little Devil Inside is slated for a winter 2022 release. This came in a montage video for indie-developed games that are set to launch next year. Little Devil Inside is not set to be a PlayStation exclusive, but Sony is heavily advertising it. One of the things that makes this indie game special is Little Devil Inside's unique blend of disparate themes and cute visuals. The game is said to be Lovecraftian in nature, as the strange nightmare themes are truly incomprehensible for the little heroes. The dichotomy of over-the-top odds and spine-chilling baddies against adorable visuals and protagonists that appear to be against all odds make the game one that has piqued the interest of many. Little Devil Inside appears to be an ambitious indie title. The game is a third-person 3D action-adventure game with role-playing and survival elements. It also will have open-world exploration, can be played in single and multiplayer, and more. it perhaps should not be a surprise that the game is taking some time to develop. If all goes well and it manages to sneak into the tail end of 2022, it could end up being one of the better indie titles of the year. There were some fantastic indie-developed games of 2021, so it will take some stiff competition even to compete with that year. But the quality of indie games has gone up over the past few years. One thing is for certain, the creativity has seemingly been endless in the indie space, and Little Devil Inside looks to be yet another game to nail it in this category. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.